Hello, welcome back, everybody, to the NFL DFS Slate Breakdown for Week 7 of the NFL. It is wild that we're already here to Week 7, but we are. I'm your host, Tyler Weeman, and we are going to jump right into it. Before we do, though, I want to shout out to Jacob here. 120K yesterday using LineStar. Oops, I did it again. Let's go. If you haven't already subscribed to LineStar app, what are you even doing? 2 luxury box takedowns in 3 weeks. Congrats, Jacob. Love to see you're having success. And you guys got to come join us at LineStar. And we do have a free 7-day trial. Just go through the app stores or the website and you can get access to 7 days free. No better spot, no better mobile app in the business. Now let's get after it. Should be a fun week. A lot of different ways to go. As always, I like to go over the games a little bit. Now, the big shout out is this Washington Commanders game versus Dallas. 54.5 total, by far the highest total of the week. Dallas has 28 implied points, whereas Washington has 26.5. That game is going to draw a ton of interest. Kansas City Chiefs have the highest implied total on the slate at 28.5. Getting Rashee Rice back, who is going to be mega chalk at his very median salary. Packers 25.8 implied total. And then the other high game totals, we got Chargers versus Colts, Bears versus Saints, and then we already talked about KC versus good old Raiders. So those are the highest, game totaled games that we're looking at. The highest paced games, we got the Saints versus the Bears, the Giants versus Denver, and then it's the Commanders versus Dallas. But those three are clearly ahead of everybody else pace-wise. So let's dig into it and let's see what we can uncover for this beautiful slate. So Patrick Mahomes coming in as the chalkiest quarterback on the slate. Now, there is going to be a ton of Patrick Mahomes and Rashee Rice. It is pretty easy to fit them in. So if you're playing Patrick Mahomes, I'm not saying don't play Rice, but if you are playing a portfolio of lineups, it could make sense to go, say, Worthy and Kelsey instead of Rice, because maybe, Rice gets 6 for 60 yards, which is a decent game, especially his first game back after missing, the last year of games. Absolutely possible that, that could happen where Worthy busts a big one, Kelsey gets 1 or 2 red zone touchdowns, and those are the guys you needed in a Mahomes stack. Now, my issue with going Mahomes in this spot, we have an 11.5 game total. Now, we know the KC won't pull their foot off the gas pedal until probably well into the third quarter, so it could absolutely be a spot where they're putting up 30 in the first 3 quarters and then coast. But it also could be a spot where the game is a shootout, the game is out of reach and Rice just isn't rushing. Now Mahomes isn't rushing. Mahomes has got a lot of his big scores this year from his rushing output. 32 and a touchdown, 60 and a touchdown, 4 touchdowns passing, really no rushing here. Not much versus Giants. You didn't need them. 66 and a touchdown, 57 and a touchdown. I mean, that's, 10 to 13, 14 points he's giving you rushing the ball. And with that, you take that away and really didn't have to have him. So that is my one concern here is Mahomes been running a lot more this season specifically in games that are a little bit close or he needs to. And I don't know if he's going to need to in this situation. And with Rice back, he could, just drop back and pass a little bit more. And maybe some of these ceiling games, aren't quite there. And instead of 31, he's giving you 24, which is a decent game at his price, but not enough to win you a GPP. So that is my worry with Patty Mahomes. I don't mind some, but definitely not going overboard. All right, now we got Dak Prescott popping up at 6,500. Obviously, this Prescott and Daniels, QB combo is going to be incredibly high owned this week. This total is 6 higher than anybody else, and the Commanders are a pass funnel defense. They're allowing teams to pass on them. They're stopping the run, and guys are passing on them. Also, Dak has a huge ceiling. We see these 303 or 304 type games out of him. He has that in the realm of his outcomes, and Commanders have been giving it up over the last 4, 266 yards per game to the quarterback. Opponent rank is 29th. They're allowing 1.8 touchdowns. And Dak has been on fire all season. We don't have to overthink this one. Dak is a great play, and he has great stacking options. So, and, he's not driving a lot of his points through rushing, which means it's a little easier to stack him because that is where his points come from. I don't think we need to overthink this one. Dak is an obvious play, but he's going to come super high owned, and everybody in this game is going to be super high owned. But hard to get away from this game in this spot. I mean, a total of 6 higher than anybody else and a close game. Dallas at home, where Dak has, performed way better. It's obviously interesting. I don't mind getting some Dak. And with that being said, I'm going to just talk about Jaden now before we talk about Herbert. Now, Jaden has huge upside. We saw it last year versus Dallas. He goes and puts up 32. Versus the Eagles, he puts up 36. Versus the Falcons, 36. Now, in all of these spots, he needs huge rushing output to really get to that ceiling. While he's a solid passer, the rushing is how he really, really gets there. And so while I like Jaden, I also don't feel like you have to go and stack him really, really hard. I think you can do Jaden and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and say Ertz, or Jaden and Ertz only. I think you only really need to bring one pass catcher with you in this spot, or you could even go Jaden and just Ja'Cory and say, hey, this team's going to score 5 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns, and they're all coming from these 2 guys. So I think there's some ways to get different with these Jaden Daniel stacks. I like him. It's obviously an amazing spot. Pretty much, all season long, it's who's Dallas playing? Let's play, all the guys opposing them. And it's no different here. Jaden Daniels is an elite quarterback. 286.5 on the season is what Dallas giving up in the yards category, and 2.5 passing touchdowns. Now, the issue is the pass catchers here. Terry McLaurin hurt and not playing. Deebo Samuel is hurt, but probably plays. So last week, Deebo played, but he really didn't do too much. Now, I don't know if that was just game script and what Chicago was doing, trying to take Deebo out, but you didn't need Deebo last week, and he still passed for 3 touchdowns. So I think the stacking aspect is what is very hard about Jaden, but you cannot ignore the upside. He is one of the few quarterbacks on this slate that's not only can, but also is in a blow up spot that can give you a score that's just totally out of reach. So enough with those 2 games. Now, Justin Herbert, 6,400. He's 12 percent owned. He's versus the Colts. This is another 48.5 game total. Colts are much better, versus the running back than the Miami Dolphins are. With that, Herbert could have to throw a little bit. Now, the issue, Colts pass rush has been very good lately, and Joe Alt is doubtful. If Joe Alt was back, he would be a lot more interesting. Herbert here is. But Herbert can obviously get it done. Although with these offensive line issues, he hasn't really done much since week 1. I have a hard time wanting to follow chalk here. While I think Herbert is solid, I think Herbert could make this game a, 34-28 game or something like that. And he could at least press enough to keep the Colts passing. I have a hard time really wanting to go to Herbert in this situation. I frankly would rather Daniel Jones, and we'll get to him in a little bit. But this spot for Herbert over the last 4 quarterbacks versus Colts, 285.5. Opponent rank is 19th. They're allowing 1.5 passing touchdowns. And then on the season, it's like 250, 1.7 touchdowns. Opponent ranked 16th. So pretty similar numbers all across the board there. I don't mind some Herbert, but I don't feel like you need to play it. Caleb Williams is in a very fast-paced game, which is interesting. Don't totally love the spot, and there also is a little bit of weather concerns possibly in Chicago. Bo Nix, 5,600, 4-star alert score. This game could be a blowout, and it's only a 39.5 total. Broncos are -7. Josh, thank you for reminding me that. Please press the like button, comment, do all that good stuff to just feed that algo. Appreciate it. Bob Hope, Sutton, Keenan, Myers, PPR, or pick one, Pitts, Fannin, also Hurts or May. Oh, all right. So I'm guessing it is a season-long question. The Hurts May one is tough because Hurts hasn't been great. May, I do think, is interesting versus Tennessee. There's also the narrative that Vrabel is going back there. So maybe May wants to, show out for the coach. Honestly, I don't think you can go wrong between Hurts and May. Pitts versus Fannin. The one thing I want to say about this Fannin spot is there is some weather concerns. Make sure you guys check the weather on Sunday morning. There's been a lot of talk about this Dolphins versus Browns game and like 40, 50 mile an hour winds. But there is a chance that in the mornings, the winds aren't too bad when this game is playing. So double check that one. But I think Fannin is the clear pick over Pitts. And then Sutton, Keenan, Myers. I'm going Sutton. I love this spot for Sutton. And we'll talk about that a little bit here. Bo Nix, 5,600. Giants D has been weak versus the pass, allowing 259 yards per game over the last 9, which ranks 30th. Allowing a ton of pass attempts. It's a 4-star alert score. And Nix, while it's not been pretty, has a huge ceiling. And his huge ceiling came in an absolute blowout. So could he, say, pass for 2 and rush a third touchdown in the first half? Absolutely think he could in this spot. And that gives him a giant ceiling at, mid-5s price. This Giants D just doesn't scare anybody. They'll also take some chances. I think Sutton is going to get plenty of one-on-one coverage. And with that, there's also another narrative that it is Demaryius Thomas's Ring of Honor day. And he was a mentor to Cortland Sutton. So not only is that happening, and Sutton will obviously want to honor Thomas, but there's obviously, he's in a good spot. Also, I think Bo Nix is interesting. I think this price is just low. And on a slate where everybody is probably paying up for quarterback, I mean, you got Mahomes, Prescott, Herbert, Daniels, all in that, mid to 7K range. coming down to 5,600, throwing Sutton on it, and then having a little more money to spend isn't the worst case. I think Drake May, you can also talk about in this spot, and it's the variable narrative that I kind of just talked about. One, I'm not really worried about Tennessee's defense. They've been getting crushed on the ground, but Patriots have been really struggling on the ground. So what if Vrabel just says, hey, screw it, let's put up 30. Let's pass on Tennessee, going back to Tennessee, who fired him and has been just terrible since he left. I don't think that would be that surprising. So I think May is a little interesting, but he's definitely not my main option there, or main quarterback that we want to talk about. I also think we should talk about Justin Fields. Now, I think there's a ton of quarterbacks we can use on this slate, and that's why I'm spending so much time here. While the Jaden, the Prescott, the Mahomes are kind of sexy, I think I don't see this spot as like dramatically better than a couple others. Justin Fields. So the issue here is no Garrett Wilson, but how is he going to put up a 30 burger? It's rushing for 2 touchdowns or rushing for 81 and a touchdown. He is not likely to get you a high 20s or a 30-point score without his rushing game. And then if you want to throw on, a stacking partner, they're super cheap. And Breece Hall's probably chalky this week. So you're getting leverage on Breece Hall by going Fields. And then you got Mason Taylor, who's super cheap, in a good spot. I think you could do worse than Fields. Like, it's going to feel real ugly to click that button after he just did this to Denver, putting up a whole 45 yards and 31 rushing yards in an 11-13 game. But I think there's clearly past to Fields putting up a big score. And at 5,700, if he puts 30 up and say Jaden and Dak puts up 30, you're still there, but you save some salary. I think it's an interesting way to go. Daniel Jones, 6K, 48.5 game total versus the Chargers. It's a decent spot. Chargers offense can put up some points. And with that, I think Daniel Jones is interesting. One of the things about Daniel Jones is he's like the number 1 quarterback in the league in first half scoring. But they've been slowing up in that second half because they're up, huge. They have 3 blowouts where they've put up 33 plus score points, and the other team has had, either single digits or 20. And I think that's totally in, while I don't think that's in the realm of possibility. I think the Chargers are going to be able to score. They're going to put up, say, 20, 24, maybe 28. And the Colts offense has been so good. I mean, maybe they could put up 40 against the Chargers. I don't think that is likely, but I think there is that possibility. And with Josh Downs out, the target tree shrinks a little bit. You got Pittman, you got Warren. I think he's very interesting. Snoop, I have not talked about Baker. He is on Monday night. We got 2 games Monday night again, and I think that game is going to be a real fun one, though. Jalen Hurts, 6,700 versus the Vikings. I think this is the game that nobody is talking about that could go nuts. You have 2 offenses that have plenty of playmakers, 2 solid defenses, but sometimes good offense just wins. And Jalen Hurts can give you a huge score. Now, if this game, say, is 30-28, you might want this game over, that Cowboys versus Commanders game that is super, super high owned. Now, it's much less likely that this game gets there, but there are so many playmakers in this game that it's hard to totally fade. I mean, Saquon's in a good rushing spot. Jalen Hurts can rush for 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown is still a very, very good player. There's, on the Vikings side, you have Addison, you have Jefferson. So I think we have to account for this game a little bit, and you got to think about it. Yeah, I like that game a lot. And if I'm playing that Thursday to Monday slate, I would probably have a lot of that game on both sides of it. So those are the QBs on DraftKings. On FanDuel, let's take our high ownership QBs and just take a look at them real quick. So high owned, we got Mahomes, Prescott, Caleb, and Jaden. Then Bo Nix, all guys we talked about. Nothing new here. One thing I will say is I've heard a ton of people talking about Dylan Gabriel in this spot versus Miami. Miami has been terrible. Gabriel threw the ball 51 times versus Pitt, only 33 versus Minnesota. Now versus Pitt, they were down by a lot, and so I don't expect that to happen. I would expect Gabriel to throw the ball a lot less in this spot, but we need to check the weather. If the weather is clear on DraftKings at 4,400, you could do worse than Dylan Gabriel. That's kind of the Jacoby Brissett play of last week type situation. I don't hate it. All right, let's get over to running back. Now, high-owned running back, Breece Hall. I talked about this being nice leverage with Fields. I think Breece is going way, way too high-owned. 6,300, but this Carolina Panthers defense has been actually very solid. On the ground, over the last 65.5 yards per game and 0.5 touchdowns. Opponent ranked as 13th. On the season, opponent ranked as 13th. They've been extremely good. While I like Breece, he's a home run hitter. He could definitely do it. I don't love this spot for him. And personally, if he stays this high owned, I'm going to try and get away big time. Because even if he, say gets a touchdown, he does decent, I don't think he's going to kill me. I don't think he's going to kill me not having him. Javonte Williams, 6,700. This game environment's too good not to consider him. 5-star alert score. Washington's been giving up some touchdowns on the ground, giving up 104 yards per game. Opponent ranked 23. Reception yards are there. I think Javonte has been incredibly efficient. I wouldn't expect a 30-point game, but we have seen it's in his realm of possibilities, and playing the ground game in this game over playing the pass could be the way to get it different. Josh, we'll get to tight ends shortly. And yes, there could there could be a lot in the box in that game. It's it's an interesting one. All right. Quinshad Judkins, 6K. It is not very often. I wanted to actually do this one thing, and I forgot to pull it up for it. It is not very often that you see rushing props as high as you see on Judkins right now. So, look at the highest rushing yard line on Underdog right now. Judkins, 94.2. You have JT at 89.5. You have 77.5 on Bijan. Saquon, 74. 72 for Josh Jacobs. Jordan Mason at 69. This guy is going high owned, but he is in just an amazing spot. The wind obviously doesn't bother the rushing. I mean, if it's 50 mile an hour, maybe it's a little hard to run into that type wind, but everybody's going to be dealing with that. So I don't care about that too much. I think Judkins can absolutely get over 100 in this game. The only issue for me going too hard on him is, can he get, 2 touchdowns? This offense just does not score very many points. 17 is the high of the season. Now, this is by far the worst defense they're going to go against. So if they're able to score, say, 24, it is fairly likely that Judkins gets at least 1 touchdown and possibly 2. So I think it's an interesting spot. He has the highest line on the entire slate, and Miami has given up 134.3 on the season and 0.3 touchdowns. But over the last 4, 150.8 and 0.5 touchdowns. They are getting absolutely dominated on the ground. And if you look at our team defense tool, Judkins is the clear top. And points per game wise, it's an additional 7.38 points. And if you look at Judkins on the year, he's averaging 12.8. So, I mean, it's not really that far-fetched for him to be at 20, and our projection of 13.3 is probably a bit low for, in my opinion. I think Judkins in a smash spot, and I'm going to be playing him. I'm not going to be fading that chalk. I do think 25% is just fine, and I'll be on it. DeAndre Swift, 5,700. People are following a very good game last week. He is now versus the Saints. Much different spot. Saints been solid on the run, 12th on the season, 10th over the last 4. Swift really hasn't done much this season outside of that game. I have a hard time really wanting to dive back into that. It does look like they changed things a little bit. They got him in space a little bit more. But I don't love chasing this chalk. I'm fine if I get some. Not going to go overboard on it. Jonathan Taylor, smash spot. I like that game versus the Chargers. I'm going to have plenty. We don't need to go too deep into JT. He's RB1 on the season for a reason. Bill, Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt. Now, this is a little bit of a tough one. 17 carries, 61 yards, 1 reception for 7 yards last week. Now, the thing that I think is interesting, he did fumbled for the second week in a row, but his snap counts were way up, and the Commanders put him right back out there after the fumble. So they weren't that worried about it. He played 66% of the snaps. If he is doing that again in this matchup, it's a smash spot. Dallas, 124.3 yards per game, 0.5 touchdown, opponent ranked 31st. They're 30th on the season. The efficiency numbers from Bill are great. If he gets 18 touches at 6,100 and going low owned, and you have leverage because he's getting touchdowns in the game everybody wants, and he's going much lower. So I think Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt, aka Bill, is in a fine spot, and I'm definitely going to be playing them. Saquon Barkley, 7,700. It's this Minnesota game. I keep coming back to it, and I think there's definitely paths to success. Philly O-line is getting a little bit healthier. Minnesota has been beat on the ground. We know the Eagles want to do their damage on the ground, and I think it's only a matter of time till Saquon has, a big game. Now, Eagles have lost 2 in a row. I think they're going to be very motivated to do well, and it's a good spot. I'm not going to overthink it. It's Saquon is still going to have 30-plus point games this year. I don't think that's over just because he got so many touches last year. I think he's going to have a couple this year. Maybe not as many. Well, obviously not as many, but they're going to be some, and wouldn't be that surprised if there was one this game. 6,500 Scottaboo, I think, is priced a bit high, but he has the goal line work. The other thing is that Patrick Surtain could just be on Wan'Dale Robinson. Darius Slayton's out. And then Denver's been tough versus the tight end. So I think it's going to be, tough sledding for Scottaboo, but I think he could be more involved in the passing game than he has been in a lot of games. And he's done decently in the passing game in his away games. That's my only path to playing Scottaboo, really. All right, pivots that I want to talk about. Ramondre Stevenson, only a 2.5-star alert score, but it is a good spot. 114 yards per game, 1.5 touchdowns on the ground is what Tennessee is allowing. Over the last 4, very similar numbers, but 1.8 touchdowns, 30th on the season. Now, Stevenson has been incredibly inefficient on the ground. 13 for 18, 1 target last week. 7 carries, 14 yards versus Buffalo, 9 for 38. He really hasn't done anything. He blew up versus Miami, which was a great spot. Outside of that spot, he hasn't had another good spot this season. I think there's paths to him getting back to this game. And they played him a ton last week. There's no Antonio Gibson. And last week he played 72%. Travion Henderson stayed at 30% of the snaps. With that, I think they're just going to go back to Stevenson. And the rushing standpoint, the running back matchup is prime. He's going very low owned. While I hate the click, he's cheap and there's upside. So I'm going to take some swings there. A running back this week, there's not a whole lot of plays I really, really like. And thus far, I'm probably going to have a decent amount of, say, Judkins, Bill, Saquon. I'll get a little Breece, even though I don't like it. I'll get some Javonte. Definitely get some JT there as well. Just simply JT could put this out of reach, a la like CMC could in or can. Now, getting over to running back on FanDuel. High owned, we got Breece, Javonte, Bill, Judkins. All of them I like. We've all talked about them. Jordan Mason, I am a little interested, but he's kind of meh. And the reason being is while Philly has got beat up on the ground, Jalen Carter's been out, and I think he's going to be back. If we get news that Jalen Carter is out, I'm going to have a lot more Jordan Mason on Sunday morning. But as of now, I'm kind of meh on it. Also, if you watch my prop show, I'm fading Kamani Vidal this week, but news popped up today that Hassan Haskins is questionable. If he's out, it is, all Vidal, and my fade of him will look much, much worse. But if Haskins is, then, I don't love Vidal. If Haskins is out, then I don't mind playing a little bit of him. All right. Wide receiver, high own, Rashee Rice. No surprise here. I'm fine playing him. I'm going to eat some chalk. I will probably end up around the field-ish, which, I'm rarely over, say, 32% on a receiver. 40-ish is generally the highest I get, maybe 45-ish, and 32% Rice, his price is low. I'm fine. Justin Jefferson at 7,600. Quinyon Mitchell is going to play, and with that, I don't love this spot for Justin Jefferson. I like the game. I don't mind getting some of this game, so I'm going to play some, but I'm definitely not getting to the field at 26%. Rashid Shaheed, 4,500. He's too cheap with the upside not to consider versus a poor defense. So that's frankly the way that I'm playing that one. If he pops up a little bit, I'm fine with it. Not going to push him in. Certainly not getting 23% of him in my lineups. It'll be more probably in Bears type stacks or game environments that are playing some Bears as well. Keenan Allen at 5,500. You could do worse than playing Keenan. 5-star alert score. The one thing I do have to warn is that Quentin Johnson is back. But Keenan gets targeted when he's out there. The issue with Keenan is he's playing 55-ish% of the snaps, and they're obviously trying to take it a little easy on him. Olave is going to get plenty of targets, but I don't love the play. But hey, if they take another deep shot, you could do worse. The targets are absolutely there. He just needs to get a touchdown, which isn't happening many times in New Orleans. Dobbs, 3-star alert score. I don't love this matchup versus Arizona, but he's really the only wide receiver you can kind of count on playing in this spot. But frankly, GPP wise, I'd rather just take my chances to go to Golden because I think there's more upside when it hits. All right. Jay Pickens. I absolutely love Pickens. I think there's the opportunity for a huge game with Pickens. Even though CD is coming back, I would expect Pickens' ownership to be lower. I think CD will end up being in this Pickens ownership spot, which 15, 18%. And then Pickens will be low. They're priced very similarly, but Pickens has huge upside. He has that big play, deep threat, and I'm interested in playing him. Keem, what's going on? Glad. Oh, nice. 890 out of Darnell. I love it. Good hit with that one. That was a nice one for sure. I had it was only a $10 play, but a no sweat through DraftKings and through Fant with a Darnell Washington anytime TD, and that cashed. So it was free $240 pretty much on a no sweat bet. So I'll take that. But congrats to you. Love that you made 890. That's awesome. So Pickens, I mean, it's a game environment bet also. Clearly want to get some. Xavier Worthy at 6,100, 3.5 star alert score. But look, what happens if it's just more coverage to Rice, and because that Worthy's able to get deep and break one? I mean, there's absolutely paths to Worthy being the wide receiver you needed over Rice, and you're getting leverage on the Rice line. So I think that's an interesting way to play it. Deebo Samuel, if he's healthy, at 6,200 in a game and environment we love, makes some sense going there. Obviously, big playability. The issue is he is hurt. Now, last week, 4 targets, 4 receptions, 15 yards, did nothing. Was that because of the heel injury, or was it just because the Bears, how they were scheming it? He also played less snaps. He only played 72% of the snaps last week, where he's typically been more around 80-ish%. So he did take some snaps off, and it was a close game and a game they lost. So, you know, this injury might be bugging him a little bit more. It is a heel. So it's an interesting situation. If he comes low owned, I'm going to have to get some. Cortland Sutton, we talked about with Knicks a little bit already. I think he's just in a prime spot. 178.3 yards per game the Giants give up to the wide receiver. Opponent ranked 31st, 0.8 touchdowns. Sutton has that 102 tutty type ability, and at 5,900, I'm fine getting to some. Golden, we kind of talked about with Dobbs. I just like the upside play. Quentin Johnson, I love this spot for him. 5-star alert score. In a great spot versus the Colts, who are 29th versus wide receiver on the season, allowing 1.2 touchdowns per game. And Johnston has that big time upside. 79-2 versus KC, 71-1 versus Raiders, 89, 98-1 versus Giants. He still hasn't had 101 game, 100 yards and 1 touchdown game, but that's probably coming in a game where the Colts maybe, forcing the Chargers to speed up a little bit and throw the ball. It could absolutely come this week. So interested in that. Jordan Addison at 5,100. If Mitchell is all over Justin Jefferson, I think Jordan Addison is in a lot weaker coverage, and at 5,100, he's a guy that has those ceiling type outcomes where he can get those 30+ point games or even 25. And I don't mind going that route with him. Michael Pittman Jr. at 5,100. I'm only playing him if I have Chargers in the lineup, because he is a guy that needs a lot of targets, but he's great around the red zone. He has 4 touchdowns on the year. He can get you, 70, 80 yards and a tutty, but he needs to be pushed to really get you that 100+, because he doesn't have that breakaway big play ability, or very rarely has that. He needs the volume to get to those, say, 10, 12 type targets numbers. And if he does, there is huge games that could come from him. So I'm fine getting some, but it is more kind of lineup specific where I'm playing him in lineups like that. Alec Pierce, 4,100, plays a ton of snaps, is a great deep threat, can take the top off the defense, 4.5-star alert score, has a big time ceiling. We haven't seen him get that deep ball connection yet, but we saw it last year. 27 versus the Giants, 18 versus Buffalo. He's only 4,100. He can put, 20 plus point games up. Think you could do worse. CeeDee Lamb, an obvious one. Luther Burden, I like this earlier in the day when I was unsure if DJ Moore was going to play. With DJ Moore playing, I'll just take that one off. If you want to get different, I get it, but I don't feel like I need to push that narrative on this slate. And then Rome. He's obviously the wide receiver one on this team. He's getting targeted around the goal line. He's getting targeted everywhere. He's getting consistent targets. Should have had a touchdown last week, but it got called back. And I'm going to keep going to the well here. I mean, he's just been too good and people don't want to play him. He has 5 touchdowns on the season. At this rate, he can easily get 12, 13 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards. And next year we're paying, mid 7Ks for a wide receiver for him. And I think that is all the rest I had here on wide receiver. So let's round it out. On FanDuel, high owns, we got Diggs, Olave, Waddle, Shaheed, Allen. Didn't talk about a ton of them. If you want to go Diggs, I get it, but he is questionable now. He showed up today with some sort of chest injury. If you want to play it, that's fine. I would do it in May stacks. I'm not going to go out of my way to play them. And kind of goes with everything else here. I don't want to play too much Waddle, but at least they play man, and Waddle can beat man coverage, 4.5-star alert score. Could probably do worse than playing a little bit of Waddle just with his volumes without Hill. High tight ends. All right, high owned. We got Goddard, Mason Taylor, Zach Ertz, Trey McBride. This Vikings game keeps popping up. And it has shown some ownership. If there's a ton of ownership, I'll back off it a little bit, but I'm fine going here. I don't love the spot, but don't mind a little bit. Mason Taylor at 3,400. I absolutely love this spot. 4-star alert score. Carolina has been giving it up to the tight end on the year. 74 yards a game, 0.7 touchdowns. Mason Taylor very well could be the first passing option on this team with Garrett Wilson out. He's only averaging 38 yards a game over the last 4, but that's with Garrett Wilson. Now, 67 yards versus Dallas, 65 versus Miami. I think this 7 to 12 target range is totally in his range of outcomes here. At 3,400, he could easily do 5 for 50. And if he gets a touchdown, you're talking about a 3,400 tight end that's, 16, 17 points. I'm fine with that. Zach Ertz, if Debo's out, Ertz is kind of a slam, like the spot, like the game total. Fine going there. But I'm probably only playing him in almost just Daniels lineups or kind of bringbacks with the Cowboys. Harold Fannin, smash spot without David Njoku. 10 targets last week after Njoku went out, and obvious upside. He has been extremely good. I'm fine going back to him at 3,900. Tyler Warren, there's no Josh Downs. Josh Downs works in that slot area, similar areas to Tyler Warren. And without him there, Warren could absolutely pick up a little more slack, and the man's just been incredible this year. Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers is doubtful. 6 targets last game. He's only 3,500. I'm fine getting a little bit. And Ferguson's going way overlooked on this Cowboys offense because CD is back. But the man has just been so involved. Really hard not to want to go back there. I mean, he still had 12 targets when CD was there against the Giants. He can get it versus the Commanders. While versus tight end, Commanders have been decent. So it's not like a cushy matchup, but he can definitely get a touchdown. He can get, 60, 70 yards. You could do worse than going that route. 5,500 is a lot for him when there's so many pay down options. So I get why he's a little less owned, but it's a little bit of leverage on the field. Gadsden, 4-star alert score. He is pretty much the primary pass catcher for the tight ends for the Chargers now. 8 targets last week, 68 yards. He dropped one and they still went back to him. I think that's kind of showing that he's going to be the guy there. Could be very interesting later this year. Chig, there's no Calvin Ridley. They're going to have to throw, and the Patriots have been very poor versus the tight end. My overall favorite play, Josh, because you were asking, and yeah, Snoop, I think I said Downs is out. Definitely like that one. Josh asked, who's the best tight end this week? I think Mason Taylor is super, super interesting, as well as Fannin. Those are like kind of the clear tight ends that I'm targeting in DFS, as long as Ertz. I'm frankly more thinking pay down at tight end this week than pay up for it. And those are my three favorite. If I'm paying up, Tyler Warren is my favorite. Tight end on FanDuel. We got Warren, Ferguson, McBride as the three I owned. And again, I'm probably paying down on FanDuel. I like these guys at lower prices. I don't have to pay the 7 or near 7Ks. I can go down to, 5-ish K and get plenty of guys I like, save some money for some other spots. And on to defense to wrap it up. Our high-owned defense this week, we got Broncos, Vikings, and Eagles. Eagles and Vikings, probably not playing too much. Broncos, 3,500 is pricey. Don't mind some. You still got a rookie quarterback. They're at home. There's no neighbors, so there's definitely path to success here. But, they may not be throwing a ton. This offense, the Giants offense now is just going through the run. So that does limit the opportunities for interceptions and touchdowns and sacks, the way you really score fantasy points in DFS. So that's my worry there, but I'm fine playing them. Colts at 2,800. They're going to get some sacks on the Chargers. I don't hate that one. And then my pivots, I like the Browns at 3K. Very, very good defense versus Miami. We know that offensive line's not that great. Tua can take some sacks. Tua is almost guaranteed for at least one fumble or one interception. So I think it's interesting. I mean, he's averaging 1.2 interceptions per game. So there's definitely path to success for them. And then Patriots versus Tennessee. The Patriots want to absolutely mash Tennessee. They could, and it could make Ward really sling the ball. And they have no Calvin Ridley. I mean, their top 3 receivers aren't great. It could really get ugly for Tennessee. So I definitely like Peyton. Snoop is asking, Fannin and Judkins in the same lineup, too much? Absolutely not. I actually do like it, and I'm going to have some of that. I'm definitely going to have some of that. I mean, if we say we put Judkins there, Fannin there, and we put Judkins there. I mean, they're not that expensive. You're talking 4,100 left. So ton of salary left over. And he put up 15 last week, 11 the week before. But we also kind of have to look at Njoku, which we can't. We'd have to go back for it. But yeah, I definitely think there's plenty of opportunities there. I mean, this Miami defense is awful. So the upside is there. The issue is you're really going to need this team to score 24, 21, 24 plus. And that's where I struggle, just because their high on the year is 17. Now, they played Baltimore week 1 when Baltimore was healthy. Green Bay, great defense. Detroit, solid defense. And before Detroit got hurt, Minnesota, very good defense. Pittsburgh isn't a great defense, but they can be, and it's a division rival. So they've played solid defenses. I think there is some upside. in playing and stacking that Cleveland game. But hey, remember, there's big time weather concerns in that game. We need to watch what weather is going to be doing on Sunday morning in that game. I mean, we have only mid 60s, but we got rain and 20-mile-an-hour showing here, but it does back down. There are some reports where it's gusts of 40, 50 miles an hour. So we're going to have to watch that game in the morning to make sure it's truly playable. And yeah, I think it's totally a double tight end worthy stack kind of slate. And if you're playing on Yahoo, Yahoo pricing is tough this week. You pretty much can't play a Cowboys stack. You got here, I'll do it like this because I think it's so interesting. So if you were playing Pickens, CD, you used 109 of your 200. Like you're almost capped out with filling out the rest of your roster. I think it's kind of wild. But like stacking this game on Yahoo is incredibly difficult. But if you're able to figure out how to do it right, there's going to be upside because people are going to struggle to do it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us today. I hope you guys have a good one. Good luck in week 7. Let's get after it. Let's make some money, and I will talk to you all later. Peace. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. It helps tremendously. We got a very small company, small team here, and your help helps more than you know. So please give us a review on the apps, like, comment, subscribe to our channels. Appreciate it. See y'all later. Peace.